Welcome to How Performance Mouthwear Can Skyrocket You to More Profits and More Fun. This is Dr. Phil Nall, and I'll be your host presenter here this evening. And first of all, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to come join us. But more importantly, it's my hope that in about 30 minutes or so from now, you're thanking yourself for coming because you got so much value out of the program. Because what we're going to do here is show you how this little piece of plastic that was once called a mouth guard now does far, far more than that. In fact, in my seminars, I frequently compare mouth guards to car phones. Think back with me about 20 years ago when car phones were the size of a small suitcase. The only place they were used was in your car, but they made phone calls. So they were the must-have technology. Fast forward to today, most of us have smartphones. Yes, we can make phone calls with them, but also do a lot more. Email, text, navigate, music, banking, camera, just to name a few. So we have 4 different points of discussion we're going to hit on here this evening. I'm going to speak about the history of mouthwear just for a few moments. I'm going to speak the technology. I'm going to do my best to show you how this little piece of plastic can make someone have more endurance and make them stronger. Going to share with you the benefits to you and your practice, and they are significant. And also share some testimonials here at the end. So I want you to understand something. This concept of putting something in the mouth for improved performance is not a new concept. Pioneer women back in the day were given a stick to bite on during childbirth. We didn't have epidurals back then. During the Civil War, soldiers were given a lead bullet to bite on during surgery. We didn't have anesthesia. Even in the day, the Greeks and Romans would bite on leather straps before going into battle because they felt it made them stronger. This is a picture of Usain Bolt, world's fastest human. I want you to look at a close-up of his face here, and you can see he's biting on a medallion. After winning the gold medal, he was in a press conference and was asked, "Why were you biting on that thing?" And he said, "Because it makes me more relaxed when I do." Now, Usain is not a doctor, not a scientist, but he was right on. You're going to see how that is one of the main benefits of this. So the history of mouth guards, they were first used in the early 20th century for bruxism. In the 1920s, mouth guards were mandated for boxing, and realized back then boxing was the NFL. It was the most popular sport in town. 42 years later, mouth guards are mandated for high school football. In the 1980s, we first started seeing performance mouthwear, mouthpieces that did more than just protect. Now, the National High School Federation, which is like the ADA of high schools, mandates mouthpieces for only 4 sports. Yet the ADA recommends mouthpiece use for almost 30 sports. So you can see we've got a huge gap there to fill in as far as trying to educate the public. As far as the history of performance mouthwear, the first bits I could find about anything historically was back in the 50s when a dentist at Notre Dame had a player that had a history of concussions and concussion symptoms. The team dentist, Dr. Stanger, made them a mouth guard that repositioned his mandible, and his concussion symptoms went away, and he was able to finish out his football career. In the 1970s, a dentist named Smith did a little test with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he tested their grip strength with wearing and not wearing a mouth guard. Those wearing the mouth guard tested out stronger. In the 1980s, a dentist named Kaufman made performance mouthwear for the luge and bobsled teams on the Olympics. And the luge players said their headaches went away. The bobsledders said they felt stronger on their push-offs. So where are we now? Let me share some nomenclature with you so we're on the same page here. I'm breaking down mouthwear into 2 categories, a mouthpiece and a mouth guard. Now, a mouth guard is the picture on the right-hand side, and it might look very similar to what you've been making presently. It fits over top the upper teeth, and it's here to protect the teeth and gums. On the left-hand side, you'll see a mouthpiece. Now, it fits over top the lower teeth, and it is worn by someone playing a non-contact sport. Golf, tennis, running, weightlifting. They would all wear a mouthpiece over the lower because they don't need the protection that a mouth guard would give us. Now, both have been scientifically proven to increase strength and endurance, to speed up reaction time, both auditory and visual, and reduce athletic stress. So, me trying to share with you how the performance enhancement works, I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about cortisol and the reverse wedge. Now, cortisol is a steroid hormone produced by the adrenal. It's released in response to stress and is controlled by the hypothalamus. In fact, a couple years ago, Time magazine had their cover story on cortisol, the stress hormone. Because excess cortisol can cause chronic fatigue, sleep deprivation, migraines, tunnel vision, acid reflux, hostility and anger, arthritis, decreased immune and metabolism symptoms, and depression. It's nasty. You don't want much cortisol. But when the jaw is clenched under stress, this stimulates the body to secrete more cortisol. Now, the real breakthrough came in 2004 with a study by Horry and some others. What they did was they took some mice, and half the mice they gave something to bite on. They gave them a stick, and the other half they did not. They introduced stress to both categories of mice, and they found that the mice with the sticks had less cortisol than those that did not have the sticks. So this suggested a possible anti-stress effect of biting, and it showed that it may be helpful in controlling cortisol in humans and thereby improving athletic performance. That was the first little breakthrough study. On the top of the mouthpiece, you're going to see these little yellow pads. Now, they may just look like that, but there's some engineering behind them. These are the reverse wedges. They were invented by a dentist named Belvedere, who he himself had several bouts with TMD, temporomandibular disorder. So over the years, he had several appliances made for him to alleviate his pain. And this knowledge he gained from wearing these appliances led to the creation of the reverse wedge. And what happens basically is this. When the person closes together with a mouthpiece with the reverse wedge in it, the molars hit first, then the bicuspids. So this causes a slight rotation of the mandible and drops the head out of the fossa, therefore relieving the pressure on the TM joint. Now, this reverse wedge was first tested at University of Tennessee in 1999, and the test showed that 93% of the women and 67% of the men showed an increase in grip strength when wearing a mouthpiece with the wedge in it. Now, I'm going to share a quick little video with you here that will explain it far better than I can.
Whether you're training or playing, you're putting your body under stress, causing your jaws to clench. The clenching puts pressure on your TM joints, signaling the brain to release a stress hormone called cortisol. Excess levels of cortisol increase fatigue, decrease metabolism, and reduce muscle building. Under Armour Performance Enhancing Mouthwear helps reposition the jaw while protecting your teeth. The device draws the jaw down and forward, relieving the pressure on the jaw joint and short-circuiting the excessive release of cortisol. The jaw position also helps increase airflow. More oxygen helps inhibit the buildup of lactic acid in muscles.
So in summary, under stress or strain, like in athletics or practicing dentistry, or day-to-day life, people clench their teeth. This clenching pressure triggers the release of cortisol. The Performance Mouthwear reduces the release of cortisol by lessening pressure on the TM joint. So therefore, the users are calmer, more relaxed, and more focused. Now, you remember in the previous video, they also mentioned that the Performance Mouthwear opens the airway wider to aid in the oxygen exchange, thereby reducing lactic acid and improving endurance. I want you to look at this CAT scan with me. Look at the picture on the bottom left. This is a CAT scan of the airway without wearing a mouthpiece. You can see the size of the airway there is 26 millimeters across. Just putting the mouthpiece in on the picture right above it takes that airway from 26 millimeters to 31 millimeters opening. Look at the lateral view to the bottom right. No mouthpiece that has 10.5 millimeters in size across the airway opening there. Putting the mouthpiece in opens it to 14.1 millimeters. so they can see how this mouthwear enlarges the airway, which this allows us to do is ingest more oxygen, therefore reducing lactic acid. This mouthpiece now has got 15 years of research on it, conducted at places like Minnesota, Johns Hopkins, Medical College of South Carolina, the Citadel in Tennessee. Scientifically proven to increase strength, increase endurance, have faster reaction time, increase oxygen uptake, decrease lactic acid, and decrease cortisol. Now it says here it also may prevent concussions. Let me just put this in here real quick since concussions are such a hot item right now. There is no research out there showing that mouthpieces will reduce concussions. So you can't say that to your patients. But those of us that have made a lot of mouthpieces realize that we do see some benefit. We know there is some, but we just can't say it publicly. So if you want some more research, doctor, there's an issue of Compendium a couple years ago that has 4 double-blind studies on this mouthpiece. If that kind of thing's important to you, to read that. I've tried to give you a little summary of what some of those would be like. JADA, our own journal, did a survey about a year and a half ago. The objective was to determine how wearing the mouthpiece affected the gaseous exchange. And what they found was subjects wearing the Armorbyte mouthpiece took in 29% more oxygen and expelled 21% more carbon dioxide than the subjects that were not wearing the mouthpiece. Guys, this is our own journal saying their survey, their test, found the increase in oxygen intake and decrease in carbon dioxide expulsion. So what's all this mean for you and your practice? Well, I think it means confidence because the research is there, and I've tried to show you a little brief synopsis of it. So there's confidence in knowing that that research is there. There's excitement there. This is a great new service to offer your patients, and they love it. They think this is just the coolest thing ever. And there's some fantastic benefits marketing-wise to you and your practice, which we'll get into in a bit here. So what are the benefits of being a performance mouthwear provider? Well, one is that patients get better, both athletically and beyond. Again, research has shown increase in strength, increase in endurance, faster reaction time, both auditory and visual. But I want you to realize something. This mouthpiece is not just for the elite Olympic skier. It's for Susie skier. Susie who goes skiing twice a year. But she's going to wear her mouthpiece when she's back home working out before she goes to the slopes. And so by wearing the mouthpiece, she'll be able to work out a little bit longer, a little bit stronger, therefore be in a little bit better shape when she does go skiing. And then maybe she can take that extra run or two. So I want you to get this loud and clear. This is not just for the Olympic skier or the Olympic athlete or the elite athlete. It's for the everyday Joe, everyday Jane. Beyond athletics, there are some significant benefits. It's a fantastic bruxism device, especially for a day bruxer, because it's comfortable. You can wear it in public. You can speak with it. We got the increased oxygen intake, which we talked about in our studies. Well, what would that do for your sleep apnea people? How about your asthmatic people? Who else needs increased oxygen? Personally, I found that my snoring has been eliminated and my endurance and wind have been improved. Before, I used to be done on the treadmill at about 25 minutes. Now I go about 30 to 35 minutes. So my endurance has improved as well. Also, I ride a Harley. And this is kind of a funny one, but it's very true. Imagine yourself riding your Harley down your road, the wind hitting you in the face. Well, if you don't muscularly position your mandible, your jaw is going to flap like a flag. So you got to hold your mandible muscularly as you're riding down the road. You do a 2-hour ride, you get there, you're tired, your facial muscles are tired. I wear my mouthpiece now, and that does not happen, and I would not ride my Harley without wearing my mouthpiece. But the biggest benefit of all, this is a fantastic new patient catalyst. And I'm going to show you about 6 or 7 unique ways of using this product to market your practice. One is personal trainers. I think these people are key. Realize who they are. They're men or women who are the exercise guru to 20 to 30 clients apiece. Meaning their 20 to 30 clients view them as their exercise guru. They're going to do whatever they say exercise-wise. So make an appliance for the personal trainer. Do it at cost. Do it at free. Do it at full fee. I don't care. Just make one for the personal trainer, because these guys are so in tune with their body. They're going to feel the improvement in strength and endurance. They're going to tell all their clients, you got to get one of these, because that's their job. Their job is to get their client into the best shape, the strongest shape they can possibly do. So here's 20 to 30 new patients coming in from a personal trainer. And people that come from a personal trainer are people that want to look good, feel good, they want to be healthy, and they have money. Because people that are minimum wagers don't get personal trainers. They can't afford it. And each personal trainer knows 5 to 10 other personal trainers. I want you to get how significant this could be. This is the ideal patient also. Again, they're people that want to look good and feel good. Another way of using it is to do a website link exchange. What that looks like is this. Let's say there's a fitness center down the road from you. You're going to do a website link exchange with them, where there's going to be a link to their web page on your website. And on their website, there's going to be a link back to your dental practice. Now, I wouldn't, the button on their website could say anything you want it to say. I wouldn't put Dr. Jones or Dr. Phil or whatever. I would put something like increased strength 20%. So realize this now. Picture this. Here's a guy in Abilene, Texas, and he wants to get in better shape. So he's cruising a website looking for facilities in Abilene that may help him or her get into better shape. So he comes across Abilene Fitness, and he's cruising their website, and he sees a button that says increase strength 20%. Click here. Well, how many are not going to click it? None. They're all going to click it because that's what they're after. So he clicks that. That goes to the web page on your website about Performance Mouthwear. And you will have dozens of people cruising your website for Performance Mouthwear. Local sporting events like marathons or 10Ks or training clubs for those. I know of a dentist in Iowa. He was going to be in a biathlon. And he joined a training club to get in the best shape he could for the biathlon. There was 9 others in the biathlon training club. He made them all a mouthpiece. And he said, in 2 months, I want you to either give me the mouthpiece back or give me $200. 8 of the 9 people gave him the mouthpiece. Gave him the $200. They wanted the mouthpiece. We have a big marathon in Phoenix. There's a little health fair before it. This is a little 2-day event at the big civic center, which will have every kind of drink, energy bar, shorts, running shoes, sports bra, whatever. I was at it. I asked them, what is here to increase wind? Increase your breathability? Nothing. There wasn't one thing in the entire floor that would do that. Here you've got the appliance that'll do that. I'm trying to show you some niches here with this product that are just fantastic. Do a Performance Mouthwear press release. I know of a dentist in Kansas that called me and he said, I cheated. I said, what'd you do? Because, I saw an article on Performance Mouthwear and I changed the opening and I changed the closing. I signed it. And the editor of my little community paper published it. And I said, so what's happened since? He goes, I've gotten 5 new patients from it. That's just off the little community paper. Some of those smaller papers like this are thirsty for the knowledge on products like this. Affiliate marketing. This is where you're going to have an affiliate what their job is to get opted in databases. They're going to write a letter to the database talking about this remarkable new product they've come across, this mouthwear that makes them stronger and run longer and more endurance and everything else. And you got to click here for more info. They click here. That takes them right into your web page on your website about the mouthwear. Could do a team fitting night right in your office with your local junior high or your local high school. You could have lacrosse night. We invite the entire lacrosse team down. You're going to make a mouth guard. You can have soccer night. Same thing with the soccer team. You could have a Who's Your High School night where they invite the entire high school athletic department down. Now, I've shown you about 6 ways here of getting people to cross your threshold for mouthpieces. Personally, I don't want to make mouthpieces all day long. I want to do dentistry. But that's the exciting thing here. You've got all these people crossing your threshold. If your practice has it together, you've got a nice clean office, you've got great smiling staff, you've got high technology, 20 to 30% of those people will stay as full-time patients, which is what I want. I want the full-time patients because I want to do dentistry, not just make mouthpieces. Now, heretofore, I've been kind of talking about the custom mouthwear, but realize that custom-fitted mouthwear is not for everyone. It could be a cost issue, they could be too young, it could be that they just want something temporarily. So we've got the Boil and Bite Performance Mouthwear, which enables you to provide mouthwear to everyone. Now, it comes in both a mouth guard and a mouthpiece, just like the custom does. But the differences are it's bulkier, it's softer, and not quite the same retention, but it has the same performance technology in it. It's just that's a little bit more hard to work with. Your serious athletes are still going to want the custom fit. So what can you do with the Boil and Bite as far as a marketing standpoint? Well, it's also a fantastic new patient catalyst. Look at the youth team potential here, because a lot of your wearers of the Boil and Bite mouthpiece are the youngsters, but let's look at the potential here. Let's just take a soccer team. There's 25 players on the team. Let's say you write an offer out to the team that sounds something like this. Our dental office is concerned with protecting the teeth and gums of our young athletes. That's why we like to make it available to you at no charge, the latest in protective mouthwear. The letter would say something like that. You give that to the team mom distributes it to the other team parents. Let's say 20 of the 25 take you up on the offer. So that's 20 moms bringing little Jimmy or little Jane into your office. If the national figures hold true, 7 of those 20 become patients. There's 4 in the family. That's 28 new patients there. 7 families at a $2,500 annual family expense of $17,500 in new revenue. And doctor, what was your investment in this? Maybe $200? You're spending lots of money on marketing. Look how key this is here. And the U.S. Soccer Organization has just outlawed headers for 13-year-olds. They know they need the protection. I think soccer is going to be the next huge sport that everyone wears mouthpieces. It's playing right into your lap for you. Again, your investment in this is next to nothing, and you get phenomenal new patient enhancement, new patients coming in. Now, sporting goods stores like Dick's or Sports Authority also sell mouth guards, but there are some significant benefits to getting it from you. One, they buy it at Dick's, they got to hope they got the right one, they got the right size, they got the right type. Then they got to try and self-fit it. They got to take it home. They got to boil it. They're going to burn their fingers and then try and fit it in the mouth. They're going to burn their mouth. If you've not done one of these, they're not the easiest thing in the world to do, okay? So there are some significant disadvantages to buying it from a place like Dick's, where they buy it from you. They're going to get the right one. They're going to get the right size, and you're going to have one of your professional dental team members fit it for them. It's an absolute home run difference. And Dick's has to charge a fixed fee. You can charge anything you want to. You could charge $100. You could do it for free. It's totally up to you, doctor. Also, another benefit to being a mouthwear provider. This is a new and exciting conversation piece. You are going to find many social opportunities to bring Performance Mouthwear into the conversation. Once you start talking about it, you will be deluged with questions. It's unbelievable. People are not going to openly talk about a dental dilemma, but they will talk about their golf game, the 10K coming up, or their training. They talk about those things. You've got the ideal opening right there for them. Also, you have a significant enhanced image. Patients want to think that their doctor has the latest and greatest. Their doctor is the most up-to-date. Well, the knowledge of this appliance and having this as a service separates you from the pack. And you become cool, especially to the teenage patients. They think you're just really neat because you make this mouthpiece that makes them stronger. And moms love you for your caring. You made her little Jimmy or little Susie a free mouth guard. So mom becomes a full-time patient. Let's say you have a little case presentation with mom. The battle's half won. Mom loves you already. I want you to get how deep that enhancement and that enhanced image can be for your practice. Little testimonials here. The guy in the middle came to the office with a chipped tooth. As I was looking at his medical history, it said he's from Seattle. I asked him why he was in town. He said, "Oh, I'm the shortstop for the Seattle Mariners." So I said, let me show you something here for a minute. So I showed him this baseball study from the University of Southern California entitled "The Effects of Armorbyte Mouthpiece on Baseball Pitching Velocity." Because what they found was that use of the mouthpiece elicited an average of 2 miles per hour increase in pitching velocity. And realize this, 2 miles an hour to a pitcher is huge. That's the difference in a $500,000 contract and $1 million contract. That's a difference for a high school player getting an invitation for a scholarship to a small school or a big school. It is significant. And in conclusion, the study suggested the use of a mouthpiece, the Armorbyte, may be used to directly increase pitching velocity amongst amateur and professional baseball. So, and when I showed him the story, he goes, "I got to have one of those." So I said, "We'll make you one here." He goes, "Hey, the other two guys I'm with are both pitchers for the Mariners. Why don't we see if they want one too?" So all of a sudden, I made him that morning for all three guys. I took that study I just showed you and I sent it to the president of the Arizona Diamondbacks. He had me get in touch with their trainer. I met with the trainer, went through the presentation, which I have for you in a PowerPoint. Went through the presentation. He said, "Let me put it out there, Doc, and see how many of the players want it." Long story short, 8 players of the 25 on the team wanted one. So I went down to the stadium. I made the impressions for the 8 players. Trainer called me 3 weeks later. He said, "Doc, you got to get back down here. They all want one now." And I ended up making it for 24 of the 25 players. Look at the musculature on these guys' faces doing their feet, doing their activity. Look how all the stress on their facial muscles is there. It's ideal for a baseball player. Dennis in Cincinnati sent this to me. He said this player hit a double and the camera was focusing in on him standing on second base and he's sitting there flipping his mouthpiece. Even though I've shown you here some elite athletes, I want you again to realize this is not just for the elite athlete. It's for the everyday Joe, the everyday Jane. I talked about the snoring, the lady right in the middle of the bottom. Look at the yoga Pilates lady. I know 2 things about yoga Pilates. It's hard as heck, and it's all about holding your poses and breathing deeper. That's what it's all about. Well, you got the mouthpiece, which makes them stronger. They can hold their poses longer, and it opens up the airway to breathe deeper. It's an absolute ideal appliance for a yoga Pilates person. Look at the video game guide on the middle right. Walked in the office a couple years ago. This 17-year-old kid was sitting there. I looked at him. I said, "It looks like you've been up all night." He goes, "I have been." I said, "Doing what?" He goes, "Playing video games." I said, "You're up all night playing video games?" He goes, "Hey, there's a big contest in town next week. First prize is 25 grand. And realize what video games are. It's how fast you react to auditory and visual stimuli. Remember, that's one of the main things that the test found, that the mouthpiece will decrease reaction time, both auditory and visual. Guy right above him was a pilot, patient of mine. He wanted the mouthpiece for strength. He works out a lot. Came in for a recall a few months later. He said, "Doc, I love the mouthpiece, and now I wear it when I'm doing my transatlantic flights because I feel more relaxed in my neck and shoulders." Guys, there's just dozens of uses out there. Top left, you may not be able to see what it is, but it's an Army guy. I received an invitation about a year ago from the U.S. Army. They wanted me to go to Fayetteville, North Carolina, and create mouthpieces for some of their elite military personnel. When I was there was a dentist officer who was kind of overseeing the scenario. And I asked her, I said, "Why do you want these mouthpieces for these guys?" And she said their testing found that the score of the snipers were enhanced when they wore the mouthpiece, meaning they were able to sharpshoot better wearing the mouthpiece. And she said, "We know they reduce stress, and if anybody needs less stress, it's these guys." She gave me a copy of the Psychosomatic Medicine, where it talked about cortisol impacting military performance. And cortisol accounted for 31% of the military performance during stress. The military gets it. So how do you get started? Well, you got to introduce the appliances to your patients. You got to start the conversation. Maybe an update in the medical history. You ask things like, hey, Mary, any new hobbies or activities? Yeah, I started running and boy, are my legs sore. Well, Mary, we've got an appliance here in the office that we can make for you that will give you more oxygen and therefore decrease that lactic acid buildup, which is why you're so sore. If you want to, I'll have Susie come back and talk to you. And Susie's our go-to person. Susie does all the calls on mouthwear. Maybe the question you ask the new patient, or not new patient, but the patient is, hey, isn't your son or daughter in lacrosse? Well, we have a program for youth teams, so we'd like to make them a free mouth guard. Would you give us the number of the team mom so we can call her? Now get that. Here this lady comes in. She's there for a recall. Her son is in lacrosse. And you tell her you've got a program for youth that you'd like to make the entire team a mouthpiece for nothing. All you want to do is call the team mom and ask her if she wants it. Absolute home run kind of stuff. So a question for you. This is on your current practice. Who in your practice right now are your hikers? Who are your bikers? I'm talking cyclists. Your golfers, your runners, your soccer moms, your bodybuilders. They are key. The trainers, I already mentioned them. Your coaches. I'm not talking big time coach. I'm talking Little League, Pop Warner. Your yoga Pilates lady who plays tennis, basketball, softball. And doctor, let me say this. If you don't know who these people are in your practice, your team knows for sure. So you've got to start with what's called a launch kit. And in a launch kit is your business in a box. It's got your mouthpiece samples, your mouthwear samples, both mouthpiece and mouth guard. You got your consumer brochures. You got your prescription forms, because the Bike Tech lab won't accept a case unless it's on their prescription forms. You've also got a free product coupon, meaning your first mouthpiece is on the house. And doctor, do it on you. Don't do it on a team member or a patient. Do it on yourself so you can start feeling the benefits. So you got to start with what's called a launch kit. And one of the neat things also is when you get your mouthpiece, it comes in this really professional, almost jewelry type case. I remember when I used to do these early on, I'd stick it in a Glad bag. Now, how professional is that? This makes it look like a real high-end, high-value item. So my question to you, Doc, is this. Do you want to keep using your 1980s car phone, or are you ready to play in the 21st century? Are you ready to really get with it and take this thing deep? If you've got a launch kit or you purchase one, here's our guide to hitting a home run. We've got a module called 100 New Patients in 100 Days. Now, the value of 100 new patients to your practice is significant. I want to make sure you realize how valuable that is. Consultants put a value of $1,500 for a new patient. Well, that alone would be increased revenue of $150,000. Could also allow you to be more selective about what dental procedures you decide to perform. You may think you're busy, but what if you could get rid of the things you really don't like doing and do more of the things you really like to do? I promise your revenue would take a significant jump. Also, you'd have the luxury of hiring an associate, or if you've got one now, the common complaint I hear is you can't keep the associate busy. Here's a way to keep the associate busy. Also, as revenues go up, the value of your practice will increase. So there's some significant advantages to 100 new patients. So what you get in our module, or you're going to get outlines and scripts for all the strategies I mentioned. I'm going to take each one of those strategies and we're going to take it deep for you, outlining, tell you exactly what to say. I'm going to have the dialogue for runners, golfers, all sports. You got to know what to say to these people, and we're going to take every sport for you and show you what to say to someone who plays that sport. You got your baseball study, which I talked about. You got a presentation, PowerPoint, for an athletic director or coach. This is the one that I used with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they bought in about 10 minutes. You got your images for marketing and your website. You got strategies to getting staff involved. You got constant email support from us, and you're going to get a dialogue sample. This is what our dialogue would look like, and I'm not going to get into the whole thing here, but it has several keywords that are absolute keys here that'll make this person really, really want the appliance. But we break this down. This is the dialogue with a runner named Jim. We'll have a soccer player named Mary. We'll have all different sports so you know exactly what to say. Because for a runner like Jim, I'm going to talk about improved oxygen intake, cut lactic acid buildup, because that's what Jim cares about. Runners care about having sore muscles and getting more wind. It plays right into their lap. And it comes in hard copy as well. So you're going to actually have the scripts there to really realize and learn, and a CD with some of the images on there for you. I'm going to talk about my key, my most fun system as well, which is how to do a fundraiser. This is an office we had in Minnesota whose daughter played soccer. And in the entire soccer organization, there was 1,400 players. So we did an offer for them. We showed them how to do an offer. The offer sounded something like this. Dear Minnesota soccer player, our dental office is concerned with protecting the teeth and gums of our athletes. That's why we'd like to make it available at a reduced fee of $20, the latest in Armor by Performance Mouthwear. And for every mouth guard we do, we're going to kick in $10 to the soccer organization. Well, they had 700, pardon me, that took them up on their offer. 700 took them up. So they wrote a check to the soccer organization for $7,000. Do you know how many bake sales that is? How many car washes that is? They basically saved the soccer organization financially. They got great PR in their local paper, and they had 700 potential new patients cross the threshold. Absolute slam dunk. Hate to keep using the word, but it is a home run. So again, included in the module is we're going to show you step by step how to do that website link exchange with a fitness center or gym or a sporting goods store or a boutique sporting goods stores, which are really popular now. Cycle shops, they're really key in this scenario. Going to talk with you about personal trainers a little deeper. Going to talk where you find them. How do you talk to them? How do you set the program up with them? And personal trainers, I mentioned to you, also have such a vital role here for you to play. How to do a team fitting night right in your office. Again, be it a lacrosse night, a soccer night, a central high night. Going to show you how to set it up and promote it to your local junior high, your local high school. Affiliate marketing, which is one of the real keys here. Going to show you how to find affiliates with opted-in databases that they email regarding this amazing product, and their database opts in for you to contact them with more info. Significant. How to do that Performance Mouthwear press release or an article for the community paper. Going to show you how to do a youth team. Which teams do you want to target? Lacrosse, football, soccer. How you do a sports calendar. For example, you don't start with football mouth guards in September. You start with those in June. We're going to show you how to set up a sports calendar so you know throughout the entire year which sports are coming up you want to do some promotions with. Who the intro person are going to be on your youth teams. It could be the doctor, you've got kids of that age, or the staff does. Or it could be your patients have kids that age. Or you could even go by to practice and actually go to the field and find the team mom. What that dialogue is with all of these areas, which is where I find most dental offices get hindered, get stuck, is they don't know what to say to people. So all this is yours for one time, $295. Again, you get the strategies, the dialogues, the studies, the presentations, the fundraisers, dozens of new patients, and email support for $295, which is less than the cost of one mouth guard, one mouthpiece. And I'm so confident you're going to have dozens of new patients flooding your office. I'm offering you a full money-back guarantee if you're not satisfied with your results after 90 days. And can look me in the eye on paper and say you tried at least 3 of the strategies that I share with you. I'll refund every penny that you paid. So again, we hope to help you hit the home run, because I got to tell you, in my practice, this has been an absolute fun project and have some outstanding results. And my wish is you have the same. So best of luck to you all. Thank you.